Money does not win titles. Or does it? Let's have a look at the clubs who splashed the most cash over the last decade in the last 10 seasons of football. And to make it fair, we're checking the net spend, which is all the money the club received for transfers minus all the money the club spent for transfers. And the results, I have to say, were shocking. Number 5 is Barcelona with 637 million euros net spent. 4th is Arsenal with 735 million euros. On 3, Paris Saint-Germain with 804 million euros. 2nd, Manchester City with 932 million euros. And clearly on top, Manchester United with 1.175 billion euros. Out of this top 5, only one club has even won the Champions League over these respective 10 seasons, Barca in 2015. But the top 4 spenders in the last 10 years have not even been rewarded with a single Champions League trophy. Real Madrid won the UCL 5 times in this period. Where do they rank? On 36 with a net spend of barely over 120 million euros in 10 years. That's behind Brighton, Parma and several Chinese clubs. So looking at this, I think it's fair to say, which clubs are the kings of the transfer market? Who has made the biggest profit over the last 10 seasons, meaning transfer fees received minus transfer fees spent? On 10th, maybe unexpected, Portuguese Braga with a transfer profit of 182 million euros. Number 9, PSV Eindhoven, 201 million euros. On 8, the only non-European club in this top 10, FC Santos with 202 million euros. Number 7, Olympique Lyon, 262 million euros. Number 6 with 324 million euros, Sporting. And on 5 with 356 million euros, Lille. Salzburg are 4th with 367 million euros, half of that probably to Leipzig, and the top 3 might be obvious: Porto with 380 million euros, 2nd Ajax 438 million euros, De Ligt, De Jong, Martinez and lately Antony surely played a big role there. And clearly on top with 590 million euros profit over the last 10 seasons, Benfica. All of these clubs are kings of recruiting and selling for profit. Of course they can't compete with the elite clubs in terms of international glory, but that's just their business strategy. They don't have huge investors, that's how they run. And as we see, it is successful. So it's clear to see, is this the biggest miracle ever in international football? We go back to 2001. The Greek national team had never ever won a single game at a major tournament, nor had they even scored a goal. So then they appointed German manager Otto Rehhagel. They didn't have any big stars whatsoever, but Rehhagel focused on a very strict and disciplined defensive football. In the Euro 2004 qualifiers, Greece topped their group ahead of Spain. Already that was a little miracle for the small nation. But in this group, they somehow managed to get 2nd place ahead of Spain once again. In the quarterfinals, Rehhagel's defensive tactics actually managed to keep the likes of Zidane, Henry, Pires, Trezeguet all quiet, and they knocked out France. In the semis, they did the same thing against the Czech Republic, man-marking Pavel Nedved, Ballon d'Or winner at the time, winning 1-0 in extra time and going to the final. There, they met the hosts Portugal with their golden generation. Luis Figo, Deco, Rui Costa, young Cristiano Ronaldo had over 20 chances in the game but couldn't score any. Charisteas scored this iconic header from a corner. Greece were crowned Euro champions and they were being celebrated like actual gods back home. So I totally get why so many people say, these football stadiums are absolute madness and they really exist. You might have heard of this one. It's called the Float in Singapore. And as the name states, it's basically a football pitch floating on the water, but with a 30,000 capacity. And they must have either really precise shooters there or a lot of balls. Or good swimmers. In fact, the Singapore national team haven't played there yet though. It's mostly being used for concerts or Sunday league games. I mean, playing my Sunday league games in there, I would take it. Have you heard of Croatian club HNK Trogir? Well, me neither. They're a non-league team, but they do play in a really breathtaking stadium. Their pitch is in fact located between 2 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, which are fortresses and towers from the 15th century. So you could say their stadium is actually a fortress. Oh my god, that was bad. What is special about this stadium? Well, in fact, the home of Serbian First Division side FK Voždovac was built on top of a modern shopping mall. The stadium is the roof of the shopping mall. It can hold up to 5,200 fans and it does comply with all UEFA regulations. So fans could genuinely go shopping at their local mall, take the lift, and then they just casually watch a Champions League game. So in my opinion, can we talk about the fact that no European nation seems really ready to win the World Cup? Every single World Cup in history has been won by either a European or a South American nation. And in the last 4 World Cups, European dominance has grown. All of them were won by Europeans: Italy, Spain, Germany and France. But I feel like this could change this year. Like, which European nations are there? England under Southgate, they look about as creative as my Sunday League team in the final third. Germany under Flick, well, it might become an option for 2024, 2026, but for now, I don't think they're ready yet. Same goes for Spain in my opinion. Great, talented team under Luis Enrique, perfect coach, but it is probably a little bit too early. Reigning champions France, they looked horrible in the Nations League. Not the same as 2018 anymore. The chemistry, the form right now simply doesn't seem to fit. Belgium, always considered as massive favorites. Well, I don't think we even need to talk about them in this conversation. Portugal under Fernando Santos, who barely qualified for the World Cup at all. Nope, I don't think so. The only team in top form right now are the Netherlands, but come on, they just don't win World Cups. So I'm gonna stick to it. My favorites to win the World Cup this season are from South America. It's gonna be between Brazil and Argentina for me. So This stadium should be banned from hosting professional football games. This is what many fans have been saying over the last years about Bolivia's national stadium, Estadio Hernando Siles, in the country's capital La Paz. But why? It looks like a normal stadium, doesn't it? Well, it is a normal stadium, but the problem here is its location. La Paz is the highest capital city in the world, and so this stadium can be found on a staggering altitude of 3,637 meters above the sea level. If you've ever been high on the mountains, you will know physical exercises are 10 times harder to perform. And considering this stadium regularly hosts World Cup qualifiers against teams like Brazil, Argentina, etc., so really high level games, I kinda see the issue now. Opponents find it super hard to play there. Very famously, Leo Messi vomited on the pitch during a qualifier game in this stadium in 2013. And in 2017, Neymar posted a pic of himself wearing an oxygen mask before a game in the Estadio Hernando Siles, and he said it's inhuman to play there under these conditions. Is it a cool thing that it adds a little bit of heat to football, or is it just a necessary physical harm to the players and you simply say